All right, everyone, welcome to Lesson 12, which is solving linear equations. We'll go ahead and slap a part 1 on that, because we're going to have a few videos in a row on solving linear equations. So, to solve, all we end up doing is performing inverse operations. In order to isolate a variable. By isolating a variable, meaning get the letter by itself, we can determine what its value is in an equation. Just make sure you're performing inverse operations. So what I mean is, if you see addition, subtract. If you see multiplication, divide, and vice versa. So undo subtraction by adding, undo division by multiplying, okay? So why would we solve an equation other than because your math teacher told you to? Well, I want to give you what might not feel like a really powerful example, but let's say Jennifer uses the equation S equals 2w plus 10 to determine the total she has saved after W weeks. So we've already answered questions that have something to do with this, where we have an equation or a function, and it says something like, okay, well, how much would she have in her piggy bank after 3 weeks? Well, okay, how much would it be after 3 weeks? Just plug in a 3 for the W. Now you might also see it something like this. S of W equals 2W plus 10. Same thing. You just plug in a 3 for the W. So, savings after 3 weeks is equal to 2 times 3 plus 10. What that feels like to me is she's saving $2 per week, but she already had $10 in her piggy bank. Okay? So, 2 times the number of weeks, add that 10 to it, you get that she'll have $16. Not so bad, right? And again, it sort of sounds like she's saving $2 per week, but she already had $10. Well, that's going to help us answer this next question. How long until she has saved $60? So you might be able to reason it out knowing she's saving $2 a week and she's already got $10, okay? You might be able to reason that out, okay? So if she needs 60, she's already got the 10, so she really needs 50. She's saving $2 a week, that would be 25 weeks, right? Okay, so what we would end up really doing here is we say, hey, we're not looking for the savings total. We've already got that. We have a value for S, or S of W, okay? So if S of W equals 2W plus 10, the saved $60 is this. And if we're asking how long, we want to know the W. And so what we'll do is take 2W plus 10 and set that equal to 60. Now you could say 60 equals 2W plus 10, For whatever reason, most of the time your math teachers will put the part that has the letter on it on the left side and the parts that don't on the right side, but you could do this the same way. Now again, remember, we already reasoned out the answer is 25, okay? Now, could you have plugged 25 in here and just checked? 2 times 25 plus 10? Yes, okay. We already know the answer is 25. That's kind of like a hush-hush thing. But what we're going to do is show why the answer is 25 by solving the equation. And we're going to solve it the exact same way we reasoned it out in our heads. The first thing we need to do when we solve an equation is make sure we recognize the left versus the right side of the equation. And then there's two operations we see here. 2 times w, that's multiplication, so we'll undo that with division. And we see a plus 10, so that's adding. We'll undo that with subtraction. The weird thing about solving equations is you are undoing the order of operations, so you work backwards from the order of operations. So the first thing we're going to do here is not divide by 2, it's actually going to be subtract 10 from both sides. Make sure you do it to both sides. By putting that minus 10, I'm really throwing an extra number on the left side. The equation is not going to stay balanced unless I throw that same extra number on the right side, okay? So 2w plus 10 minus 10 cancels out the 10s and gives me 2w equals 60 minus 10, subtract that, it's 50. Hey, and I'm remembering back in my head that we knew she already had $10, so if I take the $10 off of that 60 that she needs, she really needs to save up a total of 50 after saving $2 per week. So that's where I'm getting the 2w equals 50 from. $2 per week, I need 50 more dollars because I've already got the 10 taken care of. Now, divide by 2. 2 times w divided by 2, they just undo each other and leave the w. 50 divided by 2, boom, that's 25. The answer is w equals 25, so 25 weeks. What I want to do is move away from the context and the word problems for a little bit and just practice solving equations, okay? So, let me flip this paper over. Let's just run through a few more examples. How about 3x minus 1 equals 8? So 3 times some number minus 1 equals 8. To solve this, go ahead and draw my line. That helps me separate my left versus my right. Undo that subtraction by adding 1 to both sides. That's going to give me 3x equals 9. So now I know instead of 3 times a number minus 1 equaling 8, that mystery number, I'm one step closer to it because just tripling that mystery number should give me 9. Well, divide both sides by 3. 3x divided by 3 just gives me x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, we can check our work here. Which is one of the really nice things about solving an equation. All we have to do is take our answer, x equals 3, and plug it back in for x. So instead of 3x minus 1 equals 8, take that 3 that I got and plug it in for x. So 3 times 3 minus 1 equals 8. And we're kind of just asking ourselves, hey, if I plug that in and evaluate or simplify and carry out the order of operations, will the left and right side both be 8? Well, it will. 3 times 3 is 9. And then 9 minus 1 is 8. If you simplify the 3x minus 1 by plugging in and carrying out the order of operations, and you get a statement that makes sense, like 8 equals 8, yeah, then you're right. If you got something silly like 12 equals 8 or negative 4 equals 8, probably made a mistake and might want to double check your work, okay? So, let's try another one. x over 4 plus 6 equals 12. Okay, that x over 4, that is x divided by 4, and then added 6 to it. I'm going to go in the opposite of the order of operations by first subtracting 6 from both sides. That'll leave me with x over 4 equals 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. Then, to undo this division, to undo x divided by 4, just multiply both sides by 4. We get x equals 24. You can plug it back in. 24 divided by 4 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. Three minus 4x equals -1. Okay, be a little careful here. 3 is the thing that doesn't have the variable, and -4 is the one that does. Okay, so we want to get this by itself. To get rid of that 3, do I add it? Well, no, because this 3 is positive. By adding 3 to both sides, we're not going to get anything away from this side. Because that's a positive 3, subtract 3 from both sides. That's going to give me -4x equals -4. Don't forget that minus sign that was in front of the 4x stays there. That was a -4 coefficient on x, so it stays with the x. Okay? So subtracting 3 from both sides, -1 minus 3 is -4. Then divide both sides by -4. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and -4 divided by itself is 1. The answer is x equals 1. All right. I would like for you to try 5, 6, and 7. Solve all 3 of those equations, and then we'll go over them together. Okay, so for number 5, I'm going to add 7 to both sides first to get 2x equals 20. Then divide both sides by 2. And that is going to give me x equals 10. For number 6, I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. That is going to give me x over 2 equals 2. Then double both sides. 2 times x over 2 will cancel out the 2's. 2 times 2 on the right side is 4. So we end up with x equals 4. And then number 7. Be careful on this. Don't get all messed up on your signs. -x plus 5 equals -5. To get rid of this positive 5, subtract 5 from both sides. That's going to give me -x equals -5 minus 5 is -10. Be careful, that's not 0. If you're already 5 feet underground, or already 5 feet if you're already 5 feet underground or $5 in debt, you go down another 5, you're going to be down 10. Okay? Now, the way you get this answer, I mean, you got to get rid of that -x. You don't want to add x to both sides. That's going to be silly. That is -1 times x. So what you could do is just divide both sides by -1 to get x equals positive 10. In my mind, how I reason that out without actually saying divide both sides by -1 is if -x equals -10, negative equals negative, then positive x should equal positive 10. There we go. Okay? So a couple more questions are going to pop up on the screen right here. And we are done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.